Well, what's going on, everybody? We are about to start. We are doing what we call a grudge match between two of Paradigm Shift's finest. We got Lord Bennu versus J.Faqz. We're not even gonna really be too long. We're gonna get right into it. Not too many formalities. I'm gonna give both brothers an opportunity to speak, and then I'll go over what round one is, and we're gonna start from there. Everybody good?
Yeah.
Y'all mic's cool?
Yes, sir, ski.
We live. Bennu, heads or tails?
I'll take heads.
I don't know if y'all can see that. It was tails.
Cool beans.
Facts. You going first or you going second?
Let him go first.
Okay, you going first. Hold on. I'm gonna set up a timer real quick. It's 10 minutes. 10 minutes for the first round. Let me just pull up a 10-minute timer. Hold on. Pause. Reset the timer. Bring up the StreamYard. Turn up the value so the speakers can I can hear the beeping. Hold on 1 second. I gotta mute. And just for those who are watching, the title is Did Alistair Crowley Invent the Concept and Practice of Magic? All right. We get right start. Bennu, you got anything before we start the timer?
Nah, I just
Okay. All
let's
right.
get it.
So this is the first round. What the first round is, you get 10 full minutes to put down your demonstration, and explain where you coming from. And then I'm gonna give Jamel the same amount of time, 10 minutes. So I start when you start. So on you, Bennu.
It's on me. Okay. Ready? Let's
Yes,
start.
sir.
Okay, let's start with Alistair Crowley. Alistair Crowley was born on October 12th, 1875. The claim that J.Faqz is making is that this man invented the concept and practice of magic, ending with a K. Now, he's under the impression that magic with a K is something different from magic. What he doesn't understand is that Alistair Crowley studied under ancient mystic systems where he learned his practice that he studied. So he took trips to Egypt numerous times with his wife on vacations, and actually his first interaction with magic itself was an incantation that he spoke in the pyramids of Egypt. And from his own accounts, light filled the chambers up in the pyramid that they were in when they recited these cantations that were from Egyptian texts. He also stated in his in his diary that he learned from Egyptians and that his gods were Egyptians as well. Let me get to the exact quote. Hold on 1 second. Okay, right here in his diary in 1903, he wrote, "My gods were those of Egypt, interpreted on lines closely akin to those of Greece." And he was talking about written on the walls in Egypt, where he visited numerous times with his wife. He also joined numerous magic orders, such as the Golden Order, which is a magic society which Crowley studied under and learned. Now, here's where the disconnect is coming from with my opponent. Alistair Crowley practiced magic with a C, But what he did to stand out from the crowd is perform elaborate ceremonies that contain magic and stage plays and also included sexual acts and things of that nature. So this was on a scale that nobody has seen magic being performed before, except for stage magic, which was like card tricks and an assistant and sawing your assistant in half. So those two would get confused. People would get confused with the two. So in order to distinguish what he was doing from stage magic, he put a K on the end of it to state that let me get the exact definition of magic from Alistair Crowley, which is excuse me, my bad. Hold on, let me get to this. I can't find it. Well, okay. Magic is the old word. Okay, no, that's not it. But Alistair Crowley basically defined magic as the art or practice of using that, aligning oneself with natural forces to manifest a desired intention. So when we look back at the ancient Egyptian word for magic, which is Heka, and this in regards to the power behind the gods and the primordial forces in the world's creation. And it was believed that these primordial forces could be summoned during religious rituals to aid in the preservation of the natural world's order. So it's showing that these Egyptian people used Heka to aid them during religious rituals that they put on. Magical ceremonies is what they did. So Alistair Crowley practiced ceremonial magic. What he's getting confused with is that Alistair Crowley started an organization called Thelema, and that organization practiced magic with a K, because that's all Alistair Crowley did was add the K onto the act of practicing magic and to distinguish it from stage magic. So if you look at Wicca, it's not the same thing as chaos magic or practice, but they both practice magic. Magic is not an organization or a philosophy or something that people congregate and follow. People have different organizations and different religions that practice magic, and that basic principle is getting in accordance with nature to create your desired will and to put that out into the universe. So magic with a K is just the old way to spell the word magic with a C. Magic is the same meaning as Magick minus the stage magic. The spelling was used by Alistair Crowley for occult magic of Thelema. Magic with a C. When it says occult magic, it doesn't say magic with a K. It says magic with a C, because he wanted to make it clear that he did not mean stage magic. That's the only reason he added a K, to distinguish the actual art that has been going on for centuries that he learned from Egyptians, from stage magic that people were performing for money and that people didn't take serious as real. They would call it fake. But Alistair Crowley wanted people to know that what he was doing wasn't stage magic. It was something different than stage magic. So he added a K. But if you look at the definition of magic with a C, it says ceremonial magic and magic rituals in it. So that shows you that the two things are the same thing, but he just put a K to take out the stage magic and the parlor tricks that were associated with magic at the time. So to wrap it up, Alistair Crowley, before he started his organization, was a member of at least 3 different magical schools of thought. Alistair Crowley when he started his Thelema, he started it from saying that he was visited by an Egyptian god who spoke to him, who he couldn't see, but when he got a vision of him, looked like an older, dark black man that was covered in ancient Egyptian rags that told him stories of Egyptian gods and gave him verses that he wrote from Egyptian gods. So there's no way that this white man that was born in the 1900s created something that he was referring to as Egyptian. He even used Ankhs, the Eye of Horus, different symbols from Egypt to express his magic because he knew what he was practicing wasn't his. So I'm gonna land the plane now. If you look at Alistair Crowley's required reading list for people of Thelema, they're reading occult books from different magical practices that already existed. And what they're doing is just practicing those things and saying, okay, we don't want to we don't resonate with these deities, so we're just going to use the core practice that we can call on these natural forces to manifest our will and our reality into existence without using the cultural references that were used by the ancient Egyptians. So he didn't create anything. He didn't invent anything. The only thing that he did was put a K at the end of magic. And if we are going to accredit him with inventing something in magic, it would be Thelema, which is an organization that he created that practices magic with a C, and he was just the most popular person doing it at the time. So he put a K on it to differentiate the two different things, that stage magic and ritual ceremonial magic, from the rest of the people. And being that he was the most famous person using it, people today that are practicing Wicca and say they're practicing Wiccan magic, they put a K on the end of it. That doesn't mean they're practicing what Alistair Crowley created. They're just using his frame of reference so that they can differentiate between stage magic and the actual practice of ceremonial magic. And from there, I'll land my.
You have about 15 seconds. You good?
Yeah, I love all y'all, man. Peace to the gods.
All right. That was my man Bennu. Oops, 1 second. That was Bennu with his time. That was the top of the first round on did Alistair Crowley invent the concept and practice of magic? Now we are going to restart the timer. J.Faqz, you on deck? Are you ready?
Yes, sir. I went ahead and sent my screen your way too. So let me know when it comes through on your end. You can show it.
All right. Your screen is up, and I start when you start with the time.
All right, cool. You can start now. Before I begin, here's my sources, links. They're all open already, and here's the sources for everything that I'm about to tell you. Magic with a K is a distinct from traditional magic with a C, and also distinctly different from Egyptian mythology. Traditional magic, spelled with a C, includes practices aimed at influencing natural or supernatural forces, from folk rituals to ceremonial practices, and stage magic or illusionism. Alistair Crowley, however, introduced the term magic with a K to separate his esoteric practices from these more general uses of magic. Unlike traditional magic, often rooted in cultural or religious traditions, magic is a modern, systematic approach to spiritual practice. It emphasizes using willpower to achieve spiritual and material transformation in line with one's true will, a core concept in Crowley's philosophy of Thelema, which my opponent stated was an organization, but it's a philosophy. Thus, while magic shares some similarities with traditional magic, it is a distinct system with its own philosophical foundations. What this means is, just because Kool-Aid and Coca-Cola both got sugar in it, it don't mean that they're the same thing. Magic also differs from ancient Egyptian mythology, which my opponent blatantly stated that it was the same thing and it was being practiced in Egyptian mythology, though it incorporates elements of Egyptian symbolism. Egyptian mythology was a religious system focused on a pantheon of gods, the afterlife, and maintaining cosmic order, Ma'at. Crowley's magic, while borrowing Egyptian deities and concepts like Horus and Heka, magical force, reinterprets these within the framework of Thelema, a modern spiritual system Magic is a modern spiritual system. We're going to get to that in a second. Therefore, magic is not just magic with a K added to it. It is a unique belief system that integrates various esoteric traditions, including aspects of Egyptian mythology, but reimagines them in a modern context aimed at individual spiritual development. Crowley, as the originator of magic, synthesized these diverse elements into a coherent practice focused on realizing one's highest purpose or true will. My opponent stated that magic was just magic with a C, just with a K on the end of it. It's still the same thing. He just added a K, which is a blatant lie. That's a blatant lie. It's a distinct practice. Not only am I going to use a Google search real quick, before I do that, let's go to the etymology of the word magic with a C. We're going to scroll down. We're going to scroll down. Tell me when you see it spelled Magick. Don't worry, I got more. I'm going to keep going. We're going to go right here. So where does Magick come from? Don't worry, I got the historical spelling right here. The term magic with a K is most famously associated with Alistair Crowley, who popularized the spelling in the early 20th century to distinguish the occult practices that he advocated from stage magic or illusion. Crowley defined magic as the science and art causing change to occur in conformity with will, which he saw as a broader, more profound practice than mere sleight of hand tricks. However, the spelling magic was not an invention of Crowley's. He didn't invent it. So where did it come from? It appeared sporadically in older English texts, though without specific connotations Crowley later attached to it. For example, this is the earliest it's ever been mentioned. 1584 to 16th century, Reginald Scott, The Discovery of Witchcraft. Sourced. And just to back this up, 1 second. The earliest documented mention of magic spelled with a K can be traced back to Alistair Crowley, a British occultist mystic. It starts and stops in the 16th century. It was never used or spelled with a K prior to that. It just wasn't. He didn't invent it, but it started in the 16th century and stopped. It doesn't go back to ancient Egypt. It doesn't. In ancient cultures like Mesopotamia and Egypt, the concept of magic existed. Notice that's with a C, but it was expressed in their own languages and scripts, not through the Latin alphabet. For instance, Mesopotamian magic was referred to using terms like siptu, incantation of spell, in Akkadian, and there were various terms in Sumerian as well. Mesopotamian culture was deeply connected to religious practices and the invention of gods and spirits. Ancient Egypt, magic was known as Heka, a concept integral to Egyptian religion and cosmology. Heka was both a deity and a force used by gods and humans to maintain balance in the universe. The specific spelling, magic with a K, is a modern convention rooted in the English language. It does not appear in ancient Mesopotamian or Egyptian texts, as those cultures express their concepts of magic in their native languages using their own writing systems. But don't take my word for it. The specific spelling of magic with a K was not used in ancient Egypt or Mesopotamia. The term magic with a K is a modern invention by Alistair Crowley. Hold on, but let's just end this up, because he said that magic with a C is literally just magic with a K, but the K was just added. He said it's the same thing, just he added to it, right? I'm gonna jump straight to the summary, but we're gonna go over that. In summary, while both magic and magic can involve the idea of influencing reality, because that's what it does, magic with a K is specifically tied to the occult, esoteric, and spiritual practices that emphasize willpower and intent, whereas magic with a C is a broader and often associated with entertainment or folklore. Keeping in mind, magic with a C is what they did in ancient Egypt. They have it. It was called Heka. Magic is what with a C is what they did in Mesopotamia. They have it. They call it Siptu. Magic with a K came about with the Europeans. Specifically, Alistair Crowley made it famous. The earliest mention of it was Reginald. That's just a historical fact. That's just a historical fact. Sourced right here. Right here. These are my sources. It's a legit historical fact. I don't even really know what we're arguing. But since he brought up this definition to Harvard, which I contacted Harvard, the very definition itself points directly to Alistair Crowley. It's not just a matter of him changing the word and adding a letter to it, because that's not what he did. It's an entirely different and separate practice. It just is. It has no ties to Egypt outside of the fact that there were portions that were stolen and he contrived this shit that he was doing. That's it. It was his own unique practice. Magic with a K cannot be traced back to Egypt. It can't be traced back to Mesopotamia because it can only be traced back to Europe. That's just a fact. That's just a fact. Google searches and ChatGPT. That's it. That's just a fact. I want to talk about the key differences, though. I want to talk about the key differences. Magic with a C often refers to entertainment or folklore, while magic with a K refers to a serious spiritual and intentional practice with the goal of personal transformation or the manifestation of specific outcomes. Cultural associations. Magic with a C is broadly understood and can include everything from children's tricks to folk beliefs, whereas magic with a K, watch this, whereas magic with a K is
60 seconds
is more specific to the occult and esoteric traditions, particularly those influenced by Crowley and modern occultists. It's a separate practice. It's not the same thing. You know what this is called? An umbrella. Just because something can fall under something else does not mean it's the same thing as that thing. Again, Kool-Aid and Pepsi can both have sugar in it, but that don't make them both soft drinks. One is a soft drink and the other isn't. I land my plane.
All right. And that's time. That is time right there. Okay. So that was the end of the first round. Now it's time for the question and answer round. But first, DMG, did you want to speak or did you want me to just keep rocking?
Hey, nah, you handling business, bro. What I'm gonna do after this, as this Q&A round gets started, there will be a poll put into the community page. I want y'all to go give y'all vote for who y'all think took this contest, and make sure y'all go to the community section and vote. And that may play a vital role in how this thing plays out and who walks away with this title. So I'm deliberating with the hierarchy here on the channel, as I call it, on how we gonna decide this thing, because we haven't settled on that yet. So we either gonna put it in the judges' hands and they'll be watching it later on tonight or tomorrow, or I'm gonna leave it in the voters' hands. Either way it go, I'm gonna let each contestant know before the night is over with. But y'all go over there and vote, because the fate of this debate may be in y'all hands, or it may just be a part of the process on how it's going to be decided. But make sure you make your vote count.
Okay, that was a word from our sponsors. We are at the top of the second round, which is the Q&A, and the Q&A will start with question. I guess I should ask, because I flipped the coin first round. Do y'all think it's fair for me to flip the coin again for the second round, or would y'all like to volunteer who goes first?
I'll go first.
Okay, Jamel has opted to go first. I am setting 10 minutes on the clock. Please answer all questions honestly and fairly as possible. 10 minutes for Jamel will start when you start.
All right, stand by. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. This is Google. I'm ready, bro.
All right.
Y'all see my screen yet or not?
I didn't really. I'm sorry. I was looking at the timer.
No. You good. You can watch the timer.
All right. And whenever you start, I'm ready.
All right. Bennu, is magic with a C and magic with a K the same thing?
Yes.
Okay. So you disagree with the definitions of those words, right?
No.
Because the definitions flat out say they're different, right?
No.
Yeah, it does. It does. So this is the etymology of the word magic. I'd rather go to Merriam-Webster too, just for shits and giggles. We'll do both. Art of influencing or predicting events and producing marvels using hidden natural forces. All right. That's what it says. Let's go to Merriam-Webster.
Is that magic with a C or a K?
That's magic with a C.
Okay.
With a C.
What's magic with a K?
I got you. Let's go here. Here's magic with a C again in Merriam-Webster. The use of means such as charms or spells believed to have supernatural power over natural forces. That's literally just about the same thing the etymology definition said, right? Let's see here. And I'm not even gonna ask this question. I'm gonna ask this question in two places. Let's copy this. We'll come back to your definition there in Harvard too. Okay. According to Wikipedia, the definition, as defined by Crowley, the science and art of causing change to occur in conformity with the will. That's the same to you as magic with a C?
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. My mic was muted. Yes.
Okay. One uses an external means, charm, spells. The other uses the will, according to Alistair Crowley, who invented this entire practice. The science and art of causing change to occur in conformity with the will. That's how the word is defined, right?
That's how Alistair Crowley defined it. Yes.
Yeah, because he created it, right? According to just Google and history, he created it.
Created what? The word?
Magic? No, the practice of magic with a K.
No, incorrect.
He did it. Okay, stand by. So you're under the impression that magic with a K is just a word that it's just magic with a C with a K added to it. And you also stated that Thelema was a organization. Is that what you said, right? That's what you said.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Magic was a practice that was done underneath Thelema. Do you disagree with that historical fact? Yes or no?
No.
Okay. If magic with a K was a practice under Thelema, how could you say that it's the same as magic with a C?
Because Alistair Crowley only added the K so he can differentiate ceremonial magic with stage magic. So any organization that practices occult magic, ceremonial magic, from Alistair Crowley's definition, they're practicing magic with a K. That's why they all use it, and that's why they say magic with a K is a modern spelling of magic with a C, or an older spelling of magic with a C, invented by Alistair Crowley to differentiate stage magic from the ceremonial magic that he was practicing.
You're talking too much. This is my question, Tom.
Sorry.
Did Alistair Crowley simply add a K, or is magic its own practice? Yes or no?
Alistair Crowley added a K.
So it's not. So magic with a K is not its own practice. It's just magic with a C with a K added to it. Correct.
Magic with the K is not an independent spiritual practice. No.
Got it. Now stop right there. This is how wrong you are. Alistair Crowley did more than just add a K to the word magic. He conceptualized magic as a comprehensive and deeply philosophical practice. How do you argue against? And this is me asking you a legit question. How are you arguing against historical fact?
Where did you just get that from?
I literally just asked the question to ChatGPT. Would you like me to get it off Google too? Because it's coming from the same sources.
And you said that magic is what?
Sure, I'll read it again.
Yeah, read
Alistair
it again.
Crowley did more than just add a K to the word magic with a C. He conceptualized magic with a K as a comprehensive and deeply philosophical practice. I'm gonna go even further and read some more. While the addition of the K was a deliberate choice to distinguish his understanding of magic from stage magic or illusion, the practice itself is much more than a rebranding. It has its own foundations and systematic practices.
What are they? What are they? Because you don't know any of them.
Hold on, stand by. It's right in front of me. True will.
What are they?
True will. At the heart of Crowley's magic is the concept of true will, the law of Thelema. Magic is deeply intertwined with the philosophy of Thelema, particularly the idea of do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Ceremonial magic. Crowley's magic involves a structured system of rituals, invocations, and ceremonies. These rituals are designed to focus the will, invoke spiritual entities, and achieve specific outcomes. Meditation and discipline. That's in every goddamn practice, right? Magical tools with a K. The practice of magic involves the use of specific tools such as wands, pentacles, and swords, and symbols like the pentagram or hexagram, each with its own symbolic significance and purpose and rituals. The integration of various traditions. Hold on a second. The integration of various traditions. It was a hodgepodge of a philosophy, unique on its own. Magic, as defined and practiced by Alistair Crowley, is a complete and complex system that goes far beyond simply adding a K. To say that it is just magic with a C with a K attached to it is quite literally wrong. It's definitively wrong. You're literally just saying what's not happening in history, which leads me to my next question. Are you going to argue with the person himself who wrote the book, Magic in Theory and Practice?
I can't argue with him. He's dead.
I think that question just went over your head. So I'm gonna reword it and ask it again. Are you going to say that the person who invented this thing is wrong about what it is they created?
He didn't invent anything. And he didn't create anything.
You're just to make sure I'm getting this square. You're just saying he didn't, regardless of what history says, correct?
No, he said he didn't.
You're missing. No, he didn't. No, he did not. You're saying he didn't. You're flat out saying he didn't, regardless of what documented history is saying, correct?
No, incorrect.
So did he create it or not? Because according to everything I just read, it's all historically documented.
What you read is
you're not taking on my questions. You're not taking.
I thought you was asking me a question. I was responding to what you were saying. I was just saying you got an incorrect interpretation of what you read. But you read it. You read the same thing I did.
This is historical fact. It's an entire practice on its own. It is not magic with a C. It's a unique practice on its own. It just is. It just is. It just is. You're arguing with literal history here. I don't even have any more questions. Like, this is kind of crazy. This is really
that wasn't 10 minutes.
2 minutes. Just so you know, you have 2 minutes.
I'm not giving up my time. I'm just saying this is crazy. Like, we're literally watching a person argue.
Could you ask questions instead of just not around to talk? This is around to ask questions, bro.
Stop my time.
Ain't no stop your time. Ask questions. Don't use this to have a dialogue, bro.
Stop my time, bro. Stop my time.
All right, I need y'all to start it back. You good to go?
If you keep this nigga shut the fuck up until I ask him a question.
All right, Bennu, can you please just wait for him to ask you a question?
Do I have to sit through a whole
You can do this
lecture before you get to the question? Shouldn't it just be questions? I don't want to hear his side of the story. I just want him to ask me questions.
You can do what you want on your time. You can do what you want.
You'll have the same amount of time just to be fair. You'll still have 10 minutes
all
to
right,
do
well,
what you
don't
need
cut
to
me
do.
off when I'm not asking questions and I'm just talking my shit.
Cool beans. I ain't gonna cut you off. You can have your time, man.
Go ahead, bro.
All right, you got a minute and 30 seconds. You ready to go, Jamel?
I'm ready to go.
134, and it's on you.
So what is your issue with history? You don't like history?
Me? I don't have an issue with history.
So why do you reject historical fact?
I don't.
You don't reject historical fact? So you don't call saying that Magick with a K is not a unique concept and practice all on its own, not the same as Magick with a C?
No.
You just rejected that. You flat out said that they're the same thing. You just added a K to it. Ain't that what you said? We can roll the tape back.
No, I'm gonna explain it in my round, but if you want to ask me some questions, go ahead.
You can do that.
All right, go ahead. So finish asking me your questions. I'll explain it to you next round. You want me to explain it to you now?
No, I don't want you to explain it to me now.
Oh, all right, then we'll keep asking your questions then.
You already said you wasn't going to explain it.
Keep asking your questions then.
Just sit there.
60 seconds.
Now.
Or less than 60 seconds. You actually got about 45.
Nah, no problem. No problem. I'm talking to the chat. Y'all see how this man is just ignoring historical fact, bro? Like, this shit is crazy. How are you just saying it's wrong? It's literally documented. The man wrote the book himself, bro. He wrote the book itself. Magick in theory and in practice. I showed that it doesn't go any further, no older than 1584. Reginald Scott. People like to make it seem as if Magick with a K is somehow etymologically tied to Magick with a C, and I showed that wasn't the truth either. That's not true at all either. It's nowhere to be found tied to it. The only time you ever see Magick with a K used is in ancient Europe. And not even ancient, antiquity.
That's Tom. That is Tom. That was Jamel at the top of the second round on the Q&A. I am going to reset the clock of Bennu. Bennu, I start when you start.
Okay. When you define Magick, am I correct in stating that you said the definition of Magick with a C was the use of means such as charms or spells believed to have supernatural power over natural forces?
I said whatever the dictionary says.
Okay, that's what Magick says in the Merriam-Webster dictionary, right?
Okay, if that's what it says, I said whatever the dictionary says.
Okay. Now, if we look up, do you know what the Book of the Dead is?
Yes, I do. What
is it? Could you enlighten us on what the Book of the Dead is? What it translates into meaning?
Sure. I actually have this documented here. Let me.
Okay, well, you take it too long. It's a book of spells. Okay, the Book of the Dead is a book of spells, and that book predates Alistair Crowley. So if Magick with a C is describing spells, the same thing that they did in Egypt in the Book of the Dead, and Alistair Crowley stated himself, let me go back to it. Alistair Crowley stated himself, let me get right up into it. Let me see, I'm wasting my time right now. But he said that his gods were from Egypt, the same ones resembling the ones written on the walls in Greece and in Egypt. If he said that his gods that he was writing about in his first book were from Egypt, how is he the inventor of what he's talking about?
Can you source where he said?
Yes, Alistair Crowley's journal, Alistair Crowley's diary. Alistair Crowley has a diary called the Memoirs of a Drug Fiend or something like that.
Can you show it? Can you show it?
No, I can't. I don't know how to share my screen and all that right now, and that's going to waste mad time. But
So we
you're
just take
free.
your word for it then, right? We just
No,
take your
you're
word.
not taking my word. But okay, is it not
have
true?
to
I got
prove
my.
it.
Here's my next question. Here's my next question. Is it not true that we weren't supposed to be doing those slideshows or any of that, and you just snuck that in, and now I'm just here with just information and no slideshow? Is that true?
I didn't do a slideshow.
You just did. You were sharing your screen. You were showing information. We was just supposed to be having a conversation, but you went outside the parameters of what we were supposed to be doing, and you did a little slideshow and was talking to Chat GPT. Hey, you know what I'm saying? That's like a 2-on-1 right there. You wasn't doing. You didn't have no information. Hold on. Just stop talking during my time, bro. Is it now? If I'm talking about Heka, right, which is actually the Egyptian word for magic, which Alistair Crowley used and added the K just to distinguish it from ceremonial magic, from stage magic, right? And he said it was using natural forces in order to be in accordance with one's will, right?
No, that's a lie, actually.
Heka is forces that could be summoned during religious rituals to aid in the preservation of the natural world's order, the will of the people who were doing it. So that is the same thing as doing what your will. He just reworded it and used it to he took from different sects of magical occult teachings.
That's false.
And put them together. It's not false. Is right here in his memoirs where Alistair Crowley studied under the Golden Dawn. When Alistair Crowley came back from Egypt and he had a premonition of an Egyptian god that told him to write a book called the Book of the Law that was using the voices of Egyptian gods. Starting with Nut, and he just put an I at the end of Nut and called it Natui and said it was a female body that was covering over the sky with stars inside of it. Do that sound familiar to you?
You're literally just lying. That's crazy,
bro. It's right here in his journals, bro. And you can say I'm lying all you want because you feel me. It's a simple Google search and a look up. Him and his wife went and found a spell in Egypt when they went there. His first introduction with incantations was in Egypt with his wife, and they did a ceremony in the chamber of a pyramid in Egypt. His journal, in his diary, he's writing this about lights coming through from him doing a ceremonial ritual, which is the basis of magic. Ceremonial rituals using tools such as what? Wands, spells, and incantations. The same thing that Alistair Crowley used in his magic. When you look up magic, is the old way of spelling the word magic. The spelling was used. The spelling was used by Alistair Crowley for occult magic of Thelema. Thelema is what you're talking about. Is his original practice? He took from occult magic and created Thelema. He did not create. He did not create magic. Yeah, I got a question. Did Alistair Crowley create Thelema?
Yes, he did.
Okay. And did Thelema practice magic?
Yes, they did.
Exactly. So Thelema practiced magic because magic was a practice that was happening through all sects. Do Wiccas practice magic?
With a K or a C?
With a K. When they write it out, is it with a K or a C?
Anybody following the teachings of Alistair Crowley will be practicing magic with a K.
The Wiccas don't follow Alistair Crowley.
They don't follow it. You didn't hear what I said. I
said, do Wiccans use magic with a K?
Question. Listen to the question. Okay. Listen to the answer I'm giving you. Anybody following the teachings of Alistair Crowley will be practicing magic with a K. That's my answer.
Okay, and I'm telling you that Wiccas don't practice the magic from Alistair Crowley, but they spell magic with a K. Some of them spell it with a C because magic with the C has the same definition.
No, it doesn't. Now you're just lying. Now you're just flat out lying. You're just flat out lying.
Definition of magic is the use of means such as charms or spells believed to have supernatural powers over natural forces.
You're not embarrassed?
Hold on real quick. Let me see, Sean. Right here. Yeah. Crowley defined magic as the science and art of causing change to occur in conformity with the will. By this, listen, shut up. By this, He included ordinary acts of will as well as acts of ritual magic. Ritual magic using spells, incantations, wands, and different things.
So all
real quick, stop Lord Bennu time.
Okay, stopping his time at 2 minutes and 50 seconds.
Lord Bennu, do you have a question for Jamil?
Nah, he told me I could just talk, because that's what he was doing during his time. He said he'd let me rock out. So you don't have a question. I got a question. I got a question coming up.
Yeah, I need this the question round. So
that's what I tried to explain to him the first round. I don't know if you heard that. Was when I was telling him, like, yo, if you're gonna ask questions, but he was using his time to make explanations. That's why I tried to stop him. No, you did in the midst of it, and I asked questions too.
Listen, we gonna get back to it, but I do need you to start asking questions now.
Can you give me some examples of performing ritualistic magic?
To give you examples of performing ritualistic magic, such as what?
An example.
An example such as what you want? Something like talking to the dead, the shaking chicken bones. What you looking for?
No. How do you go? Give me an example of a ritualistic magical ceremony. What would happen?
I have no clue what would happen.
Exactly, because you don't have no clue what magic with a C is or magic with a K is, because you don't follow it, you don't study it, you don't do anything. You just did a Google search. So hold on, wait, stop, bro. Shut up, bro. Shut up. Stop my time. Stop my time, bro. Stop my time.
Don't stop your time.
Stop my time, bro.
His time started. You got to be fair, Jamel. Please. You
Shut
got
up while I'm
2
talking.
minutes and 22 seconds. If he asks a question, respond to the question. Just simply, I know what DMG said, but just to be 100% honest, you got the chance to rock out a little bit too. So if he mixing questions into his round and he's saying a little something, just so it's not unbiased, I want him to be able to get a fair shake as well.
Of course.
I start when you start, Bennu.
Okay. Can you give me an example of some things performed in a ritualistic magical ceremony?
Shaking chicken bones.
Okay, so that shows that you have zero comprehension on what it means to perform ceremonial magic. If you did have any kind of if you were astute in any way, you would know that the core basis of magic with a C or with a K is using what's inside of you to influence what's outside of you. That's it. In voodoo, hoodoo, whatever spiritual practices you getting involved in, that's the core basis of it. So what I want you to do for me is, can you tell me any occult spiritual system that using your will to influence reality is not the basis of?
What?
Can you tell me any occult practice where using your will to influence reality is not the core basis of it?
Restate that question one more time. I'm a little bit confused.
Can you stop my time? Because he's just pulling a tactic to try to waste the time because he can't answer the question. Okay, well, start my time once I'm finished the question and he says he comprehends it.
You got it.
In ritualistic magic, right? Damn, now I can't remember where I went with the question because I'm freestyling.
Your time is paused. Think of your question again.
You asked him, if I'm not mistaken, you said, is there any spiritual practice that does not
okay.
You got it?
Yeah, I got it. Is there can you tell me any occult teaching? Is there any occult teaching that is in existence where the core principal teachings of that system is not using your will to influence your reality?
Yeah, actually.
Which one?
Witchcraft in the vaguest sense can be used from natural things to influence the will of others.
Is that not outside of you in your reality?
That's definitively outside of you.
Okay, yeah. So using what's
60
inside of you,
seconds.
using what's inside of you to influence the outside world, using
So-
your will to influence what's outside of you is the core basis of any magical system, any
That's a lie.
occult system.
That's a flat out
That's
lie.
what Alistair
That's a
Crowley
flat out lie.
practiced.
That's a
That's
flat
not
out
a
lie.
lie.
That is a
What,
blatant lie. I just
so you,
told you witchcraft is very
witchcraft is
Oh
not
my
an
God.
witchcraft is not an occult practice. It's
Holy
not a sect
shit.
of
Are you
occult practice.
serious? Are you
Witch,
serious? Are you serious?
witchcraft is just
What?
a term that is
What?
associated with a
Holy
certain
moly.
type of magic, because Wiccans, they
Holy
say
moly.
practice witchcraft, they say voodoo is witchcraft, they say anything that
Say
is
anything, bro.
not outside of Christianity or different religions is witchcraft. So witchcraft is not just like you confusing magic. Magic is not its own practice.
I ain't confused nothing.
Magic would be considered witchcraft.
Witchcraft is definitively in the cult practice by definition. That shit is crazy. He's just saying anything. That's crazy.
Time is over.
That's crazy.
That's the end of the second round Q&A. I am going to turn the floor over to DMG
That's crazy.
to close out this debate.
All right, family. So listen, we had a nice little impromptu debate for y'all. I think that it was definitely worth the label I put on it. I dubbed it a hatred, a versus series hatred match, just because they debating, so I couldn't say steel cage match, even though I put the cage up on the thumbnail. But this was a grudge match. It got heated in the back chat. For those who in the back chat, y'all know what I'm talking about. For those who ain't, you just gotta be there. But yeah, it got heated, and because it got heated, these brothers wanted some intellectual bloodshed, and due to that, you know, we here right now. And so what I need y'all to do in just a few seconds, we gonna have a poll up on the community tab. I need y'all to get over there and vote for who y'all think took this first ever hatred match on Paradigm Shift TV 314. It will determine our social media champion. And the reason I'm putting the social media title on the line instead of having a runner-up in the tournament win it is because one of our channel biggest supporters, shout out to Miss Barbara, contributed a nice donation to see this thing take place. Both of the brothers, if I'm not mistaken, said it can be a donation to the channel. If that's not the case, then I need to be compensating these young men for their efforts. If not, like I said, she put a hefty donation towards the channel, and I felt like this thing did need to have some consequences to it. And so we will determine a new social media champion, our first ever title holder here. Later on, as the tournament continues, you know, we'll be crowning a Paradigm Shift TV 314 champion proper. That social media title can go on the line on a weekly basis. If you get a challenger from another platform, you can bring them over here and y'all can get that in. You can have it over there on that platform as long as they go by versus series rules. The world title, once it's decided, will only go on quarterly events that we'll be throwing down every quarter, sort of like the UFC or the WWE does on their monthly pay-per-views or premium live events. That's where we're trying to go with these things, trying to give you like 3 at a time when we put these things together, like a marquee event. So say I can get the Slim Reaper to take on the world's most dangerous Bible believer, Neo Love. That'll be on there along with the social media title being on the line and the Paradigm Shift TV 314 title being on the line. So we'll give you 3 either over the course of the weekend or on the same day. But that's what we're trying to do with these titles and these debates, etc. If we can do it on a Zoom pay-per-view, charge maybe $5-6, get individuals paid for their efforts, we'll do that. If we got to make it members only, where the people who contribute into the channels through memberships is the only ones who can watch it, we'll do that. The bottom line is we trying to make it a monetary thing for both the participants and the channel. And the only way we can do that is through the people who watch it. So give us a few ticks. That poll will be up. Please go vote. I want to give both brothers 2 minutes to give they close out on how they think this thing went, what it was they wanted to put down, and why they think they established what they was trying to establish. We'll start with the real people's champ, the Lord Bennu, and then we're going to get over to the Incredible Hulk of urban apologetics, J.Faqz. Lord Bennu, it's on you.
All right. What we debating right now is a misconception on what these terms mean. You feel me? He's confused with the fact that because Alistair Crowley didn't perform didn't perform stage magic and perform ceremonial magic, and wanted to distinguish itself from the people that did perform stage magic, is where we're having the disconnect. Occult practices, any of the occult practices, are magic. There are a bunch of occult practices. It's not just one occult practice that's practicing magic. The occult practice magic. Alistair Crowley practiced magic, but he was the most popular one at the time. So in order to distinguish what he was doing from stage magic, he added a K to it. I'm not saying that he was performing stage magic and just added a K. No, he was performing occult magic. And people were confusing that with stage magic because it was spelled the same. So he added a K. Nothing you can find in Alistair Crowley's works or anything says that he didn't get everything that he was doing from Egypt. I read from his diary where he stated himself that all of his gods up until that point were from Egypt. That when he said that he saw the person, the entity that came to him for him to write his first book, that told him the words to speak, he said it was a black man, a dark-skinned man who came to him that spoke in a heavy Egyptian accent. So everything that he got was from Egypt. He just took it like these Europeans do with everything else that belongs to us and put it in front of the world and put a name on it. The Egyptian practice of magic isn't even called magic. That's my time?
Yep, that was 2 minutes. Finish your thought, though.
Right.
Finish your thought.
The Egyptian word for magic isn't spelled with a C or a K. It's spelled Heka. And that's what they're all practicing because they didn't get it on their own accord. There's no way you can credit this white man with the creation of using your will in accordance with reality. And that's just the facts, the J.Faqz, bottom line.
He said that's just the J.Faqz. He got a little pun in there. Don't let nobody tell you Lord Bennu don't have the jokes. J.Faqz. Let me reset my time and we'll get you kicked in at 2 minutes. It's on you, bro.
Yeah, I'm honestly flabbergasted at the blatant just wrongness of this entire argument that my opponent had. First off, the name of the title is Did Alistair Crowley Invent the Concept and Practice of Magic with a K? And that answer is definitively and historically a resounding yes. He did. He just did. That's not even a debatable argument. He just did. That's literally what happened. You can't Google anywhere. You can't check a book. It will all lead back to him. why my opponent, for some odd reason, wants to give this weird ass European practice to the Egyptians. And I'm not even an Egyptian. I don't know, but it's insulting to me because not everything is black. And this shit here, I wouldn't even want to be associated with it, in my personal opinion. It is intellectually dishonest to call Heka and Magick the same thing. Flat out. Flat out. Heka in ancient Egypt was both a god and a concept. The god Heka personified this magical force, which was believed to be necessary for the maintenance of order, ma'at, and the functioning of the cosmos. That's what Heka was. Magic, on the other hand, though, that shit was an esoteric practice of rituals and spells defined and created by Alistair Crowley. That is a historical fact. Not only is it a historical fact, he literally had an amalgamation of shit that he made this practice into. The Kabbalah and all kinds of shit, alchemy, all kinds of other mystical practices mixed in and created this unique thing. Imagine taking Mountain Dew, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Kool-Aid, and piss and mixing it in a bucket and saying it's still Kool-Aid. Imagine. That is something not only not appealing in the slightest, but you can't call it any of the things that made that thing. Quite literally, it's its own unique practice. My opponent started out this conversation saying that Magick with a C was simply Magick with a K, but had the K attached to it. That is historically inaccurate. That's a flat out lie. I don't even understand why he took up this argument when it's Googleable. I honestly don't have anything else to say. It's just not.
Hey, that's time. That's time anyway. Finish your thought though.
Nah, it's just not true. Magick with a K is not in any way, shape, or form Magick with a C. It's not even close. It's its own unique practice.
Hey, yo, DMG, can I ask you something?
Go ahead, bro.
Wasn't we supposed to just be talking and not sharing no screens or information and stuff like that?
Why you say that?
That was what we discussed in the back chat when we was about to have this debate. We was like, we just gonna do 2 10-minute rounds, one presentation and one Q&A. We ain't doing no screen presentations and none of that. We just doing a regular conversation in the debate, 2 rounds. That
now,
was
if y'all said that, I thought this was gonna be just like any other verses, except we was just gonna do the 1 10-minute round each.
Nah, so you was there. You was there, and Classic Craig was in the back. I mean, not Classic Craig. Darian was in the room before we started this, where we made that clear in the beginning. So that I think that was underhanded. You feel me?
That's not true because had I known, I never heard that.
You never heard us say we not doing no screen presentations and none of that.
That's why in the back chat before we started the debate, I completely asked you, were you ready to do your presentation?
And
I didn't know that.
And when you asked me that, I said I was under the impression that we weren't doing any presentations. We were just presenting our information. Is that not what I said, bro?
What did he say after
that? Real quick, everybody chill out. So I just want to be clear on this. Whenever we say it's going to be a versus series contest, and that's something that I ain't saying that Ratchet Craig and Classic Craig invented debating or this style of debating, but this format, the 2 10 minutes and the 10-minute Q&A, the versus series is they format that they came up with specifically for what we call the battle of the ideologies. Whenever we do that, when I hear presentation, I'm thinking it's gonna be slides. I'm not gonna lie to you. I wouldn't lie to you. So when y'all said presentation, I'm thinking it's gonna be a presentation.
One second. Let me clarify. We're not about to sit. We're not gonna misappropriate. Oh my god, bro. Go ahead, bro. We're not gonna misappropriate what was discussed, right? When everything was hot and heavy at the initial conversation, I said, we can get on the mic right now. We don't need no slideshows or nothing, right? All I'm going to use, these were my exact words, Google searches, chat GPTs, and basic research. That's what I said. I didn't use a presentation. There was no slideshows here. I literally pulled up ChatGPT, Google, and definitions.
You did share your screen. If I'm under the impression that we're not sharing our
Even in
screen,
the back
and
chat,
you
he said that before the joint started. He literally said, when you said no, he said, I don't have a slideshow. I'm just going to share my screen.
When I said what?
That.
When I said what?
When you said you did not have a presentation,
no.
When I said share my screen,
that's not what I said. You being disingenuous now. Because when you said
I'm being disingenuous.
When you said, did you guys have your presentations ready?
I'm lying, bro. I don't even give a fuck.
Let me say what I'm saying, bro. When you said, do you guys have your presentations ready? I said I was under the impression that we weren't creating presentations. We were just presenting our information. Then we started the show.
Okay. Now we gotta start recording the conversations in the back too. That way, niggas, because this is the narrative y'all niggas like to do, and I don't like that shit, bro. I don't like that shit, bro. Because now you trying to make it seem like I'm being dishonest, and that's pussy. That's why I left the chat, bro. Y'all niggas,
bro. I know what I said, bro, and I know what the whole premise of the debate was.
I wasn't even in. Yo, you know what? You got it. You got it. You got it.
Everybody mute out. Check it out. Check it out. If it was a misunderstanding before things kicked off, like Lord Bennu, I'm not gonna hold you. Like to me, this should have been discussed. If you felt this way, we should have discussed it after the show went off the air, because now it's looking like some fuck shit to me. Because now we got the whole situation being looked at away potentially because shit wouldn't clear on your end. If you felt like once he said he was going to share his screen, if you felt like that wasn't fair, you should have said, well, no, I ain't doing it because I thought we discussed X, Y, and Z. You should have just not did it. Instead of we get this far to this point and now you point the shit out to me. That ain't crazy to you? We done did a whole show, and now after the show, you point out something that you thought wasn't fair or was disingenuous. If that was the case, you should have just said, hey, if he gonna present or if he gonna share his screen, I ain't doing it. Because I thought we talked about that beforehand.
Bro, DMG, who went first?
And after he went, you could have said something.
It was already on. I said it in the back in the chat.
So why when we get to the end of the show do you say something then?
Because now we got a time to talk. While we was having the conversation, I just brought it up. It wasn't like no situation where I was unclear on what was going on. J.Faqz just said it himself, that he said we don't need no slides, no presentation, no nothing. Nowhere after that was nothing said about we are creating slides and presentations. He just said we wasn't. And even in the back chat before it started, I said I was under the impression that we weren't creating presentations. We were just presenting our information. Once the debate started and I already started presenting my information, well, I'm supposed to stop the whole debate and cancel it now? I've just brought up what happened because I'm addressing what happened because people is in the chat saying, oh, he killed him because he had sources that he could show on screen and he didn't say nothing. And I'm just addressing why that happened. If we talked about it after the show, it'd just be like I ain't say nothing.
You could have read your sources. Even if you didn't share your screen, you could have read the sources out.
I did.
So what you talking about?
I'm talking about the fact that I'm addressing what's being said in the chat. They saying in the chat, oh, the fact that
I'm gonna tell you what you're doing right now. Right now, you undermining what y'all just did. That's what you're doing.
All right. Well, I'm gonna keep quiet then. We just keep it going how it's going. You feel me?
It's too late to keep quiet, Doc. Like, hey man, this shit to me, all this shit, this whole week, been some fuck shit, and I'm keeping it a buck. I'm sick of it. Like, if we can't get the shit straight out the gate, then just don't fucking participate. Don't come after the shit and then talk about some shit that could have been handled beforehand. You could have put in a private chat, hey, why are you showing this screen? I thought we said XYZ, because now you got the shit looking crazy. And y'all motherfuckers don't understand why that shit frustrating. We just had a whole some whole bullshit about a punk ass nigga coming over here talking about we rigging debates. And now at the end of a fucking debate, you gonna come with this shit. And you don't think that shit look away?
Hold on, I'm going through the chat.
Here's the thing, though, and this is a simple question, right? And I'm being really honest. Did I show a slideshow presentation, or did I just access definitions and the sources that I put together? He said we wasn't doing presentations, all we was doing presenting our information. Is that not? I presented my information, did I not? I didn't have a presentation. I shared my screen with.
This shit didn't even have to go on. Like the fuck shit that led to this. This shit didn't even have to go on. We could have went on with the fucking tournament the way we had the shit set up. But motherfuckers got in their body, and that's why we doing this shit. Because motherfuckers can't talk like grown-ass men. So we get here after doing this shit, and we still got fuck shit at the end. Right here, right now, I'm saying this shit to everybody that participate in this shit. If you can't be a motherfucking man and handle your business before the fucking conversation, don't fucking participate. If you can't be a fucking man and have a conversation without bitching out because of what a motherfucker said, get the fuck out the chat. Because I'm sick of the whole shit. Hey, family, vote. We out. I apologize for this shit. Didn't mean for it to get out of hand, but I'm sick of dumb shit. That's peace.